Hey guys, in the underground world of street racing, where bragging rights are earned in the glow of sodium street lights and fortunes are decided in seconds, horsepower always gets the headlines. Big blocks, boosted LS builds, and nitrous-huffing small blocks dominate the conversation. But ask any serious racer what separates winners from losers, and the answer might surprise you: suspension. Suspension is the unsung hero of every race, the hidden system that dictates whether power hits the ground cleanly or dissolves into tire smoke. It's also one of the most misunderstood aspects of a car, even among seasoned racers. Big Chief, the face of Street Outlaws and founder of the legendary Oklahoma 405 crew, recently opened up his garage to pull back the curtain on this black art. The occasion was a complete suspension resetup on a teammate's car that had suffered catastrophic damage. What unfolded was less a repair session and more a masterclass in race car geometry, one that revealed just how much precision and intuition go into making a car hook on the street. "The last time we raced it, you broke it," Chief said bluntly. "More than broke it. You broke it bad. We broke the whole four-link out." For those who picture suspension tuning as twisting a few knobs, this demonstration was a revelation. From simulating race weight to calculating pinion angle, Chief's process is a mixture of math, mechanics, and muscle memory, lessons learned the hard way through years of testing, crashing, and winning. This wasn't just a fix, it was a roadmap for any racer serious about turning raw power into consistent wins on unforgiving pavement. Chief's first principle is simple: build and tune under race conditions. That means every setup session begins not with tools, but with loading the car exactly as it would be on the line. Anytime you're doing anything with these cars, you do it as the way it would be on the starting line, Chief explained. So, fuel, nitrous, and to clarify, when we say your weight, we're talking about the weight of your body in the car. It sounds obvious, but many racers skip this. Setting ride height with half a tank of gas or without nitrous bottles installed leads to a false baseline. The car will behave differently on race night, and in street racing, surprises usually end in broken parts, or worse, wrecked cars. Chief is unsentimental about total vehicle weight. "We don't care what it weighs. It's going to weigh what it weighs. The time to worry about weight was when you were building it. The point isn't to hit a number but to replicate reality. Only once the fight weight is established can the real work begin." With the car fully loaded, Chief turns his attention to ride height, the first real mechanical adjustment. This isn't about aesthetics or stance culture, this is about setting a baseline for weight transfer and chassis geometry. "First thing I do is set the initial ride height just in the ballpark, crankshaft height from the ground, and then, make it look to where it's not terrible." Why crankshaft height? Because it directly influences how the car transfers weight under launch. A low crankshaft position might look aggressive, but for a street car with stock wheel tubs and oversized tires crammed under factory sheet metal, it's a liability. Chief addressed a common critique: why do his cars always seem to sit so high? Stock tubs. No mini tub or nothing. These cars were not meant to have a 28 by 10.5 tire even. This car is just not going to sit on the ground. Not because we just don't know how to make a car sit nice or whatever. On this car, the crank sat roughly 15 inches from the pavement. For some chassis, that's too low. With the engine mounted so far forward, weight transfer becomes inefficient unless the motor is raised. A higher crankshaft requires less body rotation to load the rear tires, meaning more force gets to the ground instead of wasted in chassis movement. The only way to really try and combat that is to get the motor up so that it takes less rotation to get the weight of the engine on the drive tire. Less energy wasted. All that good stuff. Science. Using coilover spanners, Chief adjusted the rear upward. This wasn't cosmetic, it improved clearance and ensured proper shock shaft travel, preventing suspension bottoming during aggressive launches or braking. If ride height sets the stage, then alignment is the foundation. Chief's mantra here is uncompromising: square, level, plumb, and straight. Until the rear end housing sits perfectly within the chassis, no amount of tuning will matter. To achieve this, he begins by isolating the suspension. First up, removing the anti-roll bar. The anti-roll bar holds the car square with the rear end. And so, if it's not right and it's locked down, then it's holding it wrong. Sure enough, once the bar was disconnected, issues appeared immediately: links that were too long, a loose bolt. This, Chief noted, is why teardown is critical. Problems reveal themselves only when components are freed. Next came the shocks. Without springs and dampers influencing position, the rear could be supported at ride height with a solid block, allowing it to float into its natural alignment. The target here was exact, 13 5/8 inches eye to eye. By stripping variables, Chief was creating a clean slate, geometry set by math, not by bent brackets or worn bushings. Of all suspension parameters, pinion angle may be the least understood and most critical. It dictates how power travels from the crankshaft to the tires. Done right, it's invisible. Done wrong, it's catastrophic. Chief's objective is straightforward. Under launch, when the drivetrain loads and flexes, the crankshaft, driveshaft, and pinion should all align in a perfectly straight line. To get there, he accounts for wind-up, the natural tendency of the rear end to rotate upward under torque. A rigid chassis with quality parts might only see 3/4 of a degree of movement. What we would do is set the crankshaft and the drive shaft at the same angle and then the pinion, lower the pinion down 3/4 to 1 degree. That way when you let off the button, it snaps it straight to zero. The consequences of getting it wrong are dramatic. Too much angle in the drive shaft acts like a jump rope, oscillating violently and lifting tires instead of planting them. The driver feels it as a steering wheel shake when lifting off throttle. Chief used a digital protractor to check the 4 link bars, ensuring symmetry side to side. This wasn't just about numbers, it was about consistency. A level pinion means predictable launches. If pinion angle is about straight line power delivery, rear steer is about subtle control. It's the deliberate offsetting of one rear tire relative to the other to influence handling. Too much, and the car crabs down the road. Just enough, and it tracks straight under brutal acceleration. To measure it, Chief bolted alignment bars to the brake rotors, then pulled precise dimensions from those bars to fixed points on the chassis. Even a difference of a few thousandths mattered. If the measurement on your alignment bar is closer on this side than this side, you'll think, oh man, the rear needs to go over that way. But it doesn't. It's just you need to fix the rear steer. He recalled a lesson from chassis builder Rick Jones, who diagnosed a handling problem with a single question: how much wrist you got in that deal? Translation: how much rear steer was baked into the setup? In this case, measurements showed just 0.0215 inches of rear steer, functionally square. But further checks revealed the housing sat a 1/4 inch off center. The fix? Adjusting the triangulated 4-link uppers, shortening one and lengthening the other until the rear walked perfectly into place. With that, the car was truly square, level, plumb, and straight. Big Chief is famous for his ruthless attention to detail, and this session proved why. With geometry established, the crew tackled a pile of small but significant issues uncovered along the way. Bent shock brackets, misaligned rod ends, crooked anti-roll bar mounts, a brake line that needed rerouting. Even bolts with flats rotated out of alignment caught Chief's eye. This is the part of race cars that I don't like people to know about me because it's really ridiculous, he laughed, while carefully clocking each bolt head. But that obsessive streak is what separates winners from almost winners. On the street, where traction is marginal and margins are razor thin, even tiny misalignments can mean the difference between victory and defeat. What struck observers most wasn't just the technical precision, but the philosophy underpinning Chief's approach. You never trust anybody with your own race car. You always make sure it's right so that if there's anything wrong with it, you can't blame nobody but you. That hard-earned self-reliance comes from years of racing in conditions where mistakes are punished instantly. Unlike a prepared drag strip, the street offers no margin for error. Suspension setups must be bulletproof, predictable, and forgiving. Chief's step-by-step process: load weight, set ride height, square the rear, dial pinion angle, check steer, chase details, embodies that mindset. Each stage eliminates variables, ensuring that when the car hits the street, it reacts exactly as expected. This session ended with the car's foundation restored. The final steps, corner scaling, 4-link tuning, and anti-roll bar adjustment, would come later. Those adjustments fine-tune bite and balance, but without the groundwork, they're meaningless. For Chief, horsepower is the easy part. Anyone can buy a big motor or a bigger turbo. The true edge lies in preparation, in the hours spent making sure every bolt, angle, and bracket is perfect. Street racing, in his view, isn't a contest of brute force. It's a chess match, waged with wrenches, levels, and patience. For those dreaming of someday lining up on a two-lane blacktop against a Street Outlaws star, the takeaway is this: don't chase horsepower before you understand suspension. Big Chief's process shows that street racing is less about brute power and more about physics, patience, and precision. It's about eliminating unknowns until the car becomes an extension of the driver's will. Anyone can bolt a big motor into a chassis and spray nitrous. But getting that power to the pavement consistently, predictably, and safely, that's an art form. As Big Chief's garage session proved, building a fast street car starts not with horsepower, but with setup. For the future of street racing, those who master this process will always have the edge.